Hello, listeners of the Art Versations podcast. Hello, how's your week been so far? Thank you dearly for tuning into this show. For new listeners joining, this is Art Versations, a meditative conversation about the artistic process. I am your art-loving hostess, Bri, like the cheese, and just like the cheese, I'll rock your insides all the way to the bathroom. Silence, yeah. I'm still working on that joke. I mean, it's all part of the process, right? What that process looks like for each artist is exactly what this podcast is for. Before we get to this week's guest, a reminder to hit that subscribe button and leave a review on Apple or a comment on the YouTube channel. Please stay connected with me and the rest of the podcast community as we share our love for art. Also, if you haven't followed the podcast Instagram, what you doing? At Art Versations Pod is the place to find more content about the podcast. Many thank yous in advance. All right, it's another week, which means it's another episode, which means a brand new artist. I was fortunate to grab an hour with this dancer, teacher, choreographer during a very busy month for her. She opened up to me about her teaching methods, the many projects she is pursuing, and what keeps her creating. I do want to give a disclaimer that around the halfway mark, we go into talking about body image, so if that is a sensitive subject for you, please be advised. All right, settle into creative space and please enjoy my art versation with Renee Smith.
Be like, I did not hear that exercise. Could you like say it in my ear? Say it in my ear, and I'll have my earphone in, and I'll be like, "Hey, plie," and
so different from like actual class.
Yeah, so different, but we made the most of it.
Hi, Renee.
Hello, Bri.
How are you doing in this current moment in time?
Oh, man. I am living, I could say, living, but also dying at the same time.
Also sweating your butt off?
Yes.
Me too.
Yes. It is hot today. And I, of course, chose to wear pants of all days, but I'm also very known for wearing like long sleeves when it's like blazing out, and then when it's freezing, I'm just like, I'm so bad at it.
It's so opposite. I love
very
it.
Opposite.
You're just like a contrarian.
Yeah, and people are like, "Are you not hot?" And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, "Yes," but then I battle back, be like, "No, I'm fine."
Well, if you overheat, let me know.
Oh, it's okay. Yeah.
I will let you know the same. I'm sure I'm going to be sweating this entire time. I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad that you made time to come all the way from Whitby and visit me.
Of course. I had to live out my podcast dreams.
Yes, because this is your first time as a guest.
I'd done like an interview before, but not like in this setting. That was over like IG Live, so it wasn't, and it was like a quick 20-minute thing, so... Yeah.
Well, this is not an interview.
No.
Because I am not Jimmy Fallon or anyone else. We're going to talk about all of the projects that you're working on, and because we've worked together a little bit this summer too, and like I was so inspired by how like dedicated you are to continue making art, to continue to create amidst all of the stuff going on.
All the craziness.
Yeah, it's very nice to hear that like art can still live and can still be made. And yeah, because we had worked together at the beginning of July on the Fresh Outdoors event, which was really, really fun. I was so glad to have you as a like a helper and assistant, because it was like one of my first times like teaching again in person.
Oh, that's awesome.
For that many kids.
Well, you killed it.
Oh, well,
it was so fun.
That's very kind. Yeah. And we had a lot of fun, I feel like, right?
Yeah.
Like, the kids were so open.
Yeah, they were really great kids. Mm-hmm. Really, really good.
They were a little bit, I think, shy at first.
Yes.
And they were, like, because they had a contemporary class with David, and things were sort of warming up and everything, and then I had them at the end of the day for some, like, freak-out musical theater. And I feel like that's when they like really opened up. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah. No. What? Yeah. I feel like that's like for any intensive or class you take, it's always like the warm up, and then once you realize like, oh, it's fine, like we're just dancing, it's all good, it just becomes like a party, which it was. Made me fall back in love with musicals. I was very far away from that for a bit, and then once I took that class, I was like, oh yeah, like you can have fun in a class, like you can just be silly and just enjoy, you know, all the craziness. So yeah.
What were the kids like on the Sunday? Because I wasn't there.
Oh, that was so nice.
Did they feel more vulnerable and absorbent?
Yeah, definitely. They were more open of just like talking with one another, being closer with proximity. I mean, should have stayed distance, but you know, they weren't as timid. Asking more questions, and then when it came to like the hip hop, it was just like, it was so fun.
Sweet.
So fun.
Queen is the best.
She's so nice.
Yeah.
I met her that day, and I was just like, you were literally just like, I want to fit you in my pocket.
Yeah.
You're so sweet.
Anytime I need a little groove, I'm just going to pull her out.
Yeah, it was such a fun combo. I haven't done hip-hop like that in a long time. I've been really focused on like jazz funk lately. So going back to like old school hip-hop and like those moves, I was like, whoa. Have not done that in like literally I think maybe 4 years.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so it's like that was
getting back into it.
Yeah.
It's same for me. Like I always forget to take hip hop class, and I'm so bad about it because I'm always like, oh, I have to take ballet, or like I have to be like training and CrossFit and everything, and then like I get into a hip hop class and I'm like, I don't know how to bend my knees. Like, I don't know how to get down. Where did it go?
Yeah, exactly.
It's something that I like definitely have lacked on during the pandemic, and I feel like too with as a teacher yourself, like getting everyone to come back into like what we used to have.
Yeah,
it's like you have to navigate that space, right? Like as a teacher myself, I'm like, okay, like trying to make everyone feel comfortable, but also like reminding them of like how it used to be. Like have you found with the students that you teach that there's like a little bit of trepidous, a little bit of hesitation?
You know what's so funny with these group of people? No.
Great.
They're like,
these are your students that take 5, right? Okay.
Yeah, they are just a ray of sunshine. My day is always better when I go. Like I'm like wrapped around all their fingers. Like I love each and every one of them so much because they welcome me with like the biggest open arms. Like literally day one, they're a studio. They're very like jazz, tap, acro, like commercial style heavy, and like I don't think they've probably ever taken a modern class ever. So I got asked to, you know, do a class or two.
Cool.
It was supposed to be contemporary, but I was like, or no, actually, was it contemporary? I think it was open, like just like an open class. And I was like, I'm going to teach them some like floor work and across the floor contempt stuff from school. And like, I got no bad like vibes from anybody. Like nobody was giving me any stingy faces. Nobody was, you know, hesitant. Like they all were just like, okay, like, we'll try this out.
Sweet.
And my practice, like I'm so focused on like a positive atmosphere and like making sure that the kids feel like they're being seen and heard. And, you know, I would crack a joke every now and then just to like lighten up the mood. And like, I would make it very clear, like I'm also, as much as I'm like the teacher role in here, I'm also, you know, a student as well. It's okay. Like I'm not perfect. There is no such thing as perfect. So there's exercises that like I could do and I'd say like, hey, like put your leg up to here, and it's like I can't, you know, really move it that high, but you guys can.
Right,
so
right.
Yeah, I just wanted to come in being like, don't think that I'm just like now above you. Like that's not how that works, you know, like we're all on the same plane. And they just ever since like have just been so amazing towards me. So yeah, we're now like at a level where I'm trying to have like handshakes with like each and every one of them, trying to get there. We're at like 3 people so far before we're getting there.
That's so like that's so precious.
Yeah.
Like as a kid, like just to have like someone to look up to who's not gonna be, you know, like scary.
Yeah.
Like a real true role model. Like you say, you're also a student, so. You know, you seem to have a great like perspective on like what class is actually for.
Right.
You know, like you're not just there to.
I don't want to suck the fun out of it.
Yeah.
You know, like these kids are on a schedule. they're preparing for something that they've been waiting for years.
For so many years.
So everything is just like go, go, go. But then when it comes to the times when they don't have to be that, it's like, okay, let's just loosen up. Let's have some fun. If you're not feeling good today, like, don't push yourself. It's okay. Like, I'm not forcing you to do anything. And it's just very important that I keep myself involved with them and not like change who I am as a person just because I'm now, you know, the teacher of the class. I just want it to be very much an open space for them to feel like they can also be themselves no matter what. So it's been really amazing.
That's so important as educators to allow the space to be open for growth and, you know, and conversation if they need it to. Yeah, I think, and they just had their showcase. Is that right?
Yeah.
Adorable.
It was so great. It was seriously like, that was actually my first, I told them at the beginning of the year, I was like, I'm going to be honest, like I've never been a teacher, like a faculty member of a studio. I've always just come in to do like a drop-in class or cleaning. I've never actually been like a regularly scheduled teacher throughout one studio's, you know, season. So I was like, you guys are actually my first like kids like doing a comp number on a comp stage. Like I tried last year with a studio that unfortunately closed down, but pandemic, and it never hit the stage. I did one in high school, but like I feel like that's just like so separate from kids that are in a studio space rather than just like friends that I know.
Right.
But it was only one number, and then before that I was only just assisting or just going in to like help clean numbers. So they're like,
that relationship didn't like get established.
Yeah. Like I've known for many years that I've been wanting to be a teacher, but never got that teacher role. And I've just been like, I don't know when that's happening, but hopefully soon. And then last September, August, actually almost like a year from now, actually, I sent out a bunch of emails to every single studio in the area because I was like, I know I'm going to be home next year. Let me just like figure it out.
Right.
And they were the first ones to message me back. They were like the first and only studio to message me back. All the other ones were like, you know, we can put you on the subbing list or we're full on staff, like whatever. So I was like, that's fine. Like whatever's meant to be is meant to be. But first people to message me, and then she's like, yeah, let's have a meeting. We had a meeting, hit it off right away, showed me the space.
Wow.
And she was like, okay, yeah, welcome to the team if you want to be a part of it. And I was like, heck yeah, like would love to
match.
be, you know, like, and it of course is literally 5 minutes away from my house. So I was just
perfect.
like, this is match made in heaven.
Yes. Yeah, it sounds like they needed you and you wanted the job, and it works out.
It worked out so great. And I just have so much love and respect for everybody there, teachers as well. Like because of the pandemic, I didn't get to meet many of them. I only got to see the people that I taught, and then the teachers taught on like other various days. So honestly, I met the full team like properly last week.
Wow. At the showcase?
Not at the show. Oh no, not last week. I would say 2 weeks ago. So when they were prepping for their showcase, I got like scheduled, and it was like they were doing like a whole comp run situation.
Right.
So I sat in a room and I was told like I had a group of kids that like I didn't teach, but they had their comp numbers, and it's like, okay, we're gonna show you this dance now, and I had to give them feedback and whatever. And I met them through Zoom, but not like properly in person.
Wow, that's so strange.
Yeah, so like my brain was just on overload. I was trying to remember people's numbers, like what they were called. I was trying to remember their names. I was trying to remember like who's who. Like
wow,
just bombarded with kids. Yeah. It's like whoa.
Interesting. Yeah, I guess that's the downfall of Zoom. Is that like you don't get to have like chats in the lobby.
No.
Or like, oh, you're in that class. Oh, have fun.
Exactly.
Like, yeah, that's something I definitely missed too.
Yeah, and I made so many assumptions too. Like I would see some people and I was like, oh, like you seem like you're so small. And then I meet them in person with their mask on, almost the same height as me. And I'm like, they're like, hi, Renee. I'm like, wait, hold on, who are you? Wait. Pull your mask down quickly.
Yeah.
Whoa, sorry, that's who you are? I'm like, I fully thought you were probably going to be up to like my waist. Like, what is that?
So weird.
So Zoom is very eye-opening. But even those kids that like I properly met in person were still like welcomed me with open arms. Like I would walk in there like, hey, Renee, and I'm like, what the?
Sounds like you made a real impact.
Yeah.
Like, even over Zoom, you know? Like, I feel like these kids are, like, desperate to have some kind of connection.
Yeah.
That's not their parents or, you know, a couple friends.
Yeah, for sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
Aww.
So, to any of my kids listening, I love you all.
Aww.
And I'm excited for your season.
That's so sweet. Yeah. So do they have comp, like, coming up next year, but not in May?
No, they have their first comp actually the 16th and 18th of this month.
Okay, yeah, because everything is different now.
Yeah.
It's not like you'd have comp, like, at the end of the year or, like, towards the end of the year. Because the whole season has been just, like, shuffled around. I can imagine these kids are just so excited to share.
They're just, like, ready to go up there and just do their thing. Adorable. But then, of course, their season starts again back in literally next month. So.
Okay, so they have a comp and then they have to...
Yeah, because everything's been so pushed back with, you know, restrictions of, like, being in person with a certain amount of people. Yeah. So they were going to do, like, comp in, like, May, got pushed, June pushed, July pushed, now August, and now it's actually a thing. And they bust their butts for all week, and next week they're hitting the stage for 2 days, and then it's just like, all right, well, see you in a few weeks to start all over again.
That's it? They don't get anything else?
I feel like they'll have, like, a studio party, maybe. I don't know.
Do those routines sort of get put to sleep, or do they get to...
I think they will get put to sleep, yes, because, well, the majority of the numbers, I think, like, some solos, duets, and trios, they've been doing since 2019. So they've been waiting to do these numbers. Yeah, like,
that breaks my heart.
So they're ready for stage, but they're also ready to get rid of those numbers.
Got you. They're like, nope.
They're like, goodbye.
It's been enough.
It's been a hot minute. We're done. Yeah, let's get something new. Yeah. But I got to do 4 pieces. Those were new, but yeah, those will be put to sleep also. I mean, they got to do showcase. I'm, like, happy about it. And they get to do 2 comps. That is enough for me.
At least it's something.
Yes, it's something.
Something better than nothing. Yeah.
And I also don't know if I could drag those numbers again for a whole year. I mean, that'd be cool, but I also would like a fresh thing. We've been doing it since November, so...
That's fair.
It feels like it's been enough time. Yeah, some of it was over Zoom, but... felt like enough, so
they'll get to perform it and feel good about it. Well, that's great. I'm so glad to hear that, because I, as a teacher myself, like, watching these students just, like, train over Zoom, not over Zoom, kind of over Zoom, but also in person, and then, like, only 4 people can come in. Like, it's so, especially too with you, like, you had a year of online school too at our university, whatever it's called.
Whatever the heck that is.
Whatever it's called.
X-University.
Yes. The gray name that we're using.
The gray name. Ryerson, for anybody that is confused.
And if anyone's confused, it's formerly known as Ryerson. Although I think they just announced their new name for the School of Performance.
Yes.
Which is the Creative School.
Yes.
We will use that. But with all of that, scheduling and, like, modules and... you don't even know if you're going to have an end show, or, like, I want to know, like, how did you navigate all that?
Honestly, I shut my brain off about school, like, probably after the first module. I was like, okay, clearly we're not going to get the year that we expected. Yeah. And I need to live with that and just ride the ride. And we were very fortunate to have Justine Chambers come in to do a nice little online piece for us, which took... longer than we expected, but it was, like, a very well thought out, intimate process that was, like, very needed for our year. I feel like if it did cut short, our class would not feel as connected, whereas the length that it did, like, I think we started with her in, like, October, and it originally was supposed to be, like, done, I think, by, like, Christmas, but it bled until, like, February or something.
Oh, because that would have been dances, kind of.
Yeah.
But it now
in a way.
It went into the new year. Interesting.
Yeah. And then we got to do it for the Vancouver Art Gallery.
Oh,
I think that's why it got brought back up. They were like, yeah, we want you guys to perform it for...
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's dope.
So that was really nice that we got to do that together as a class. But yeah, me and my friends, like it became a scheduled routine. I was like, I need to make the most out of this year because it's not going to be the same. My friends and I, we FaceTimed almost every day for every class and like would crack jokes to each other while taking class and like help each other out. Like we'd be like, I did not hear that exercise. Could you like say it in my ear? Say it in my ear. And I'll have my earphone in and I'll be like, hey, plie. And
so different from like actual class.
Yeah, so different, but we made the most of it.
Yeah,
and
you need that connection.
Yeah. Funny enough though, it felt like we had already graduated because at that point it just felt like we were doing like drop-in classes.
Right. Yeah.
But there's nothing wrong with that. It was still great. Got a lot of educational stuff out of that. And then we had our technically year-end show, quote unquote. You just had to make videos, but we weren't allowed to be with each other, which was the very annoying part. And then I put on myself, I was like, I'm gonna make a class piece, because I did a class piece on choreo with Kaylee. And and then I was like, oh, you know what, I love full circle moments, let me just do another class piece. But fantastic. I'm not tech savvy, so I was like, why would I put a piece together with 29 people and I don't know how to edit at all? Like, I didn't even have an editing software because I don't own like Mac or anything. So I was like, I need to get something. And I just had people. I had ideas. I sent in so many prompts. They sent me some stuff back. I was like, okay, how do I work with this? And then I created a lovely, I think it came to like maybe 10 or 12 minute like film. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, because I guess this isn't like this would be like Springworks, right?
Yes,
so the pieces can be longer.
In a way.
Okay.
Yeah. The fourth years could have longer pieces, and then others, like I think the first years they got to do solos, but their solos could only be like a minute or a minute and a half. So it was very like to the year of how much you could do. But with that, like nobody could be together. Like we weren't allowed to physically go in anybody's like film work. Like you can't be in the same frame as somebody. So I was trying to work with that with camera. I was like, how can I make something look like we are in the same room? And there was like a moment where I tried to give people formations. I was like, can you stand in one corner, you stand in the other, and I kind of overlap so it looks like we're in the same room, but we're not.
Cool.
I don't know if it came out successful, but I tried my best. And I
what? I'm jealous because I didn't get anything.
That's so
year.
True.
I'm
is like so upset
really
for your
cool.
year. Like I'm so upset for your year.
It was a hard blow because we were like in the midst of learning a piece with Metamorphosis too. So we were just like,
and I saw those clips and I was obsessing over them.
It was gonna be so cool because it was a class piece that we were all gonna do together, and then nope, it got swiped, and then we didn't even get to show like we had also been working on class pieces, like Max Wheatley had a piece and Selena Durazio did too, and Emma Llewellyn. So it's like I'm so glad that at least this happened for your year because, and yes, it's not at the same par or the same level, but like. The way that you were able to adapt and use Zoom and tech and all of the stuff that like makes no sense, like I commend you for that, and I'm so happy it happened. You know, like
me too. I felt like it was like a decent way to end the year in some type of way of some sort of togetherness. It was great. It was like a hassle to make, but it was worth it in the end because everybody was sending me beautiful messages in our like class group chat, and they were like, I'm crying, this was so nice. And I was like, okay, that's all that matters. That's all we needed, just for us to see each other in like the same sort of capacity one last time and then call it a day.
Did you end just like logging off of Zoom and that's how you graduated?
Grad was odd, like
so weird.
We got sent, this is what was so upsetting, we got sent hats, right?
Yeah,
or caps, I should say.
Yes.
And I was so ready. I had mine on, like I was ready, good to go. I put a suit on. I mean, I ordered a dress and it didn't come in until literally the day of grad.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, I already had the suit and I was like, I don't feel like changing. But I went full force. My mom decorated the house. I had family coming over there like afterwards, and I had the cap on, and then we were like, okay, let's do this. I opened the laptop, and nothing against like my friends or anything. But oh my gosh, there was maybe like I could count on one hand of people that actually like dressed up. Everybody else was in everybody was in sweats, which is totally honestly. Yes, honestly, if I wasn't having a party that day, I would totally be in sweats as well.
It's cash, yeah.
It was super cash, which is fine. Yeah. But nobody was wearing their cap either. So I messaged in the group and I was like, is nobody gonna wear their hat? And they're like, some messages being like, I look horrible in it, and no, I don't want to, it's hot. And I was like, oh, okay.
Really takes away the grad ceremony
so
quality.
I was like, it's already so awkward enough. I want to make it feel somewhat like it's grad. And then I don't know, my insecurities came in and I was like, I don't want to be a rando wearing a hat. So I took mine off. Gosh, because not even we did the whole tassel moving to the other side thing. Nothing. It was literally nothing. And it was just speeches from the teachers. I also put another video together of the classes. I made little snippets of all the dances that we've done. I just made it really sped up and put it together. And then I added photos at the end and told all of them, send me a video of you bowing in your own way. Oh, wow. And I made it very they would do a bow and their name would pop up at the top.
Oh my gosh, you really took control of that. That's amazing.
I took some time on that.
That's amazing. I'm sure without it wouldn't have been all consuming. And Kat St. Clair put together a little video for my year, and I was just thank you.
Oh, that's nice.
Because the faculty doesn't have time to do it, and
yeah,
it's needed.
Yeah, and there was just a speech. We said cheers, and then we got into breakout rooms for our respective things, and it was nice. It was nice until decent. Nobody wanted to talk. You would think that we would, be it's been so. I mean, we did. We were it's been nice, whatever. But the teachers were trying to ask us questions, or what were some funny things that happened the 4 years, and maybe the same 3 people kept talking, but I couldn't think of anything. I literally was I don't know why my mind's blanking. I can't think of anything that's happened these past 4 years. Yeah. So I was I think the joke of it is we've been on Zoom this whole year. Woo. So I don't know what else to tell you.
What else is there to say?
Yeah. And then it was just all right, well, stay in touch. I was okay, goodbye. Log off. Click.
And I'm graduated.
Yep.
Okay.
Great.
So strange. I can't wait. You know what I think is going to happen? And I want to be the one to make this happen. We should have a third and you and my year too.
Yes.
What I called you a third year because when I was in fourth year you were. But all of the people who have not been able to have a grad ceremony, let's just throw a big massive party.
Big party.
In the gym.
I'm so down for that.
And just tear shit up and actually have a moment to just be together.
Oh, I would absolutely love that. A nice little reunion.
Right?
That would be so nice. We say that though, but
and everyone's moved away and moved on. But I think it would be really nice just to come back one more time.
For sure.
And then be okay.
Yeah.
I'll see you soon.
I think Louis was talking about it. He's maybe we'll have one massive class outdoors or something.
Let's
with
do it.
with your year and my year.
Yes.
I was yeah, that'd be so nice if we had a class just to kind of finish it off or something.
It's needed.
Because
if you say it was a decent ending, there's something missing, and I think 4 years is significant. That's a lot of time to put into something, and then just to feel there's a decent ending. It's
for sure. It's
not deserved. So.
Yeah, I mean, I feel I'm slightly over it. That sounds so sad. I'm cool. Okay if there wasn't a conclusion.
Sweet.
But if there was a conclusion that got brought up, I'd be heck yeah, why not?
Well, and you know what? This is a great segue because you have moved on.
I have moved on.
You have been working lots in this past month and a half.
God has been good.
Yeah. So many opportunities.
So many.
Let's start talking about the Echo Chamber and Alysa Pires collab that showed at the Toronto Summer Music Festival. Mm-hmm. And that was in July. And it's on Vimeo still.
Yes.
So people can go and check it out.
Yes.
Is it going to be removed at any time?
Good question. Don't know.
Cool. Okay,
I was told it was only going to stay up for a week.
Oh.
And then I was then told afterwards, because apparently there was some glitches on the other end for some people, they were we'll leave it for the rest of the year.
Oh, sweet.
But I also have not gotten a confirmed message of if that's true or not.
Okay, well, everyone listening right now, go
check that now before it's wiped. And then you're no.
Because it's a live show.
Yeah.
You were in a live show. With live musicians.
Live musicians, but no audience. Was so awkward, but
shit.
in the best way though. It was we did one dress rehearsal, But that dress rehearsal, like, I was like, there's gonna be no difference from this dress rehearsal to the show. Like, it's not like people are gonna come and watch. We're just gonna do this again. So
weird.
It was slightly strange, but it was it was so awesome. I have to say, I was very much like in the clouds for that whole experience because it was just so. It was like a lot happening for me, like to have. First of all, just to be working with the people I was working with.
Stacked cast.
I was like, what the?
Yeah.
How did I get here? And then on top of that, it was Alysa. And I was like, oh, that's so, like, nice, you know, because we did Not With a Bang.
Yes,
and
so wonderful.
That felt... It was just like, it felt like a nice little circle moment. And then Kelly was also a part of it, and she was my choreographer for on choreo. So I was like, oh my God, I'm getting my 2 Ryerson dance experiences, like teachers in one place, but like I'm working with them now. It's not like, you know, a school thing.
Yes, yeah. Kelly Shaw, Hannah Shikatani was in it too. Like, what a great group of people to be on stage. It was so
great. And then I had a moment where I was doubting myself a little bit. I was like, I don't think I'm a horrible dancer, but I also seen these people and I'm like, they're such beautiful, talented movers. And Alysa gave me like such a beautiful message one rehearsal. She was like, I asked you to be here for a reason. Like, don't downplay yourself. Like, you deserve to be here. Like, don't think that, you know, I randomly selected you as a fluke or something. Like, this is, you know, how it's supposed to be. And she said, like, the music that she listened to, she said, like, I was the first person that popped in her head, and I was just like, okay, like, that's so reassuring. Because, not saying I don't think I deserve to be here, but when I looked at the names, I was like, I'm working with 2 people from National Ballet. I was like,
I see what you mean, yeah.
Looking at myself, I was like, you know, I'm not the typical dance body, you know, that's a whole other topic, but...
It is, and you know me, I'm not at all going to subscribe to that, but it is a true thing, right? Of like, comparing.
Yeah, and I was like, I need to not compare, like, I'm just as capable to be here as they are.
Absolutely.
And then riding with that, I just had such an awesome time. They were such positive people and very supporting. And the music, oh my God. The music
was beautiful.
So nice.
As I was watching, I really, really loved the combination of live music and dance. Like, the movement quality was great. And, of course, I love Alysa. And you and Hannah, your duet that you did together at the end, I was like, this is so awesome. Just see people moving.
It was so nice to do a duet.
But with the live music, it like brought on this whole other level of intertwining the experience.
Yeah.
Like, I could listen, but also like visualize the music go through the phrasing. And I think as a performer, you were so musical, and I remember watching you in school, but now watching you like on this big stage, I really could see that like you pay attention to the detailing, the music, and that made the performance like so much more beautiful and so much more like detailed and intricate.
Thank you.
And I think to your point about, you know, the National Ballet people and it's Kelly Shaw and I used to like be a peer to or a student to this person, like that's all wiped away once you get up there and you deliver some kind of performance so human, so truthful.
Oh, thank you.
So don't forget that, you know, like I know it's difficult to be up against people, or not up against, but like to work with people who you look up to.
Yeah.
But I think Alysa's right. Like you have a quality that is unmatched, and
thank you.
I'm just I just want to, you know, gas you up a little bit because I think that it's true, you know, like but I know what you mean about comparing.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're up for having just like a talk about like body image and body dysmorphia, like I deal with that myself as well. And I think as movers, we are constantly looking at the mirror.
Oh yeah.
You know, for functional reasons, like, you know, I gotta make sure my toe is pointed or like at a certain height with other people, but it's kind of a relationship that is also so toxic for me, and has definitely reminded me of how much dance can be like super bad on the body and the mind. Yeah. Are you finding ways to like be more patient with yourself during all of your practice? And
I told myself I need to like stop getting so upset at myself for changing. Like, it's okay for change.
Yes.
And even if it's not the most ideal change, like, just understand that I'm a very firm believer in, like, everything happens for a reason. And, like, yes, I have total control over my body and how I want it to look, but I also don't ever want to force myself to do something that just does not feel like I need to do in this time. Like, I fully told myself, like, before lining up all these, like, opportunities that I've had, I was like, I'm gonna work my butt off to, like, lose this many weight and, like, yada yada yada. I want my body to be back to the way this thing was and whatever. And it's like, life throws you curveballs. You never know what your schedule is gonna be like. And for the time that I told myself I'm gonna pound it out and do circuit every day, and I'm gonna, you know, do YouTube videos and do all I can to lose weight and whatever, it didn't happen. Like, I couldn't get myself to that point to commit to that every single day. And it's not that, like, I resented it or anything. It was just like, no, like, today I don't want to do that. Today I'm going to dance. Yes. Or today I'm going to rest. Yes. Or today I'm going to go out with my friends and go get that, I don't know, whatever food item you're desired to have that day. Like, right. I just was like, I need to just learn to accept where I'm at right now and work with what I have, and not, like, shove what I hope to look like in an unrealistic time too. Like, once this all kind of happened, I was like, oh, I have a week. I'm like, obviously my goal is not going to be met in a week. So I was like, I just need to learn to accept it and, like, understand, because I said for so long, I was like, I want my body to be like the way it was when I was 16. I feel like 16 was, like, my prime year. Yes, yeah.
I know. I can remember myself in that age,
16 was just, like, my body was thriving at that time. Right. I was pounding out all the comp numbers. Like, I don't know. I look back and I was like, 16 was my year.
On that comp schedule of training every day. Yeah.
My jumps were the highest then and all that. Yeah, all that fun stuff. But, you know, once I got into uni, life happened, and the whole freshman 15 or whatever the heck that thing is called, all that happened, and went through a bad time and noticed my body changed, and I, like, really started to, like, hate it. I was like, oh my god, like, what the heck did I just do to myself? And I'm still on that learning curve. Like, I don't think anybody could ever look at themselves and be like, that is it. Everyone's still striving to fix something of themselves. So I'm not saying, you know, that I'm completely content with where I'm at right now, but I am accepting of it. And that is the biggest thing I could ask for myself, because it's been hard for the past 4 years to, you know, it's been so easy to compare, especially when, like, your friends look a certain way and your peers look a certain way, and, you know, family expectations and all that stuff. It's just, it can become a lot sometimes. But then it's like, you know what? No, it's my body. I can do whatever the heck I want with it. I'm still dancing. I think, like, that's, like, the main thing. Like, yeah, sure, maybe my jumps can't go as high as it used to, or maybe my oversplit that I had back when I was in high school, when it was very, like, not okay to do to your body. Maybe I can't hit that oversplit no more, but
it's all good.
But, like, honestly, the choices that my body can make now as a dancer, I'm like, this actually does feel slightly healthier. Like,
totally.
I feel like what I was doing before was just so hindering to it.
Maybe was not the best choice.
Probably not.
But, like, I wasn't gonna stop myself because I was loving what I was doing. Right?
You're like, of course I want the audience to see, you know, my head hit the floor and my back snap in half. Like, I want that to happen.
Right? I know. And you were able-bodied enough to do it.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I'm a 23-year-old. I'm like, I could maybe stretch a little bit backwards and do extensions, and that's okay.
Yeah.
I'm happy with that.
Yeah. I can still bend my back, but it's like, you know, there's a slight pinch, and it's maybe not going half, it's going maybe a quarter, which is okay.
That is okay. That is okay. Enough. We are valid. All bodies are dancer bodies.
All bodies are dancer bodies. Yeah. That is really the key there.
I think that's a very I appreciate you opening up about all that, because I think a lot of dancers, a lot of people in general go through, you know, body dysmorphia or some kind of conversation in their head about hating their bodies. And yeah, it just comes down, for me, it comes down to like a daily practice of just like checking in, like, like you say, like some days I dance, some days I don't, some days I just don't care.
Yeah, like some days you can run on that treadmill for a full hour. Some days you don't want to get off your couch. Like,
exactly. It's both.
It's just, it goes either way.
Yeah.
I give full props to the people that do it every day. I really do. Those that wake up at like 5:30 in the morning, give themselves a nice breakfast, does a full run, goes to the gym, finishes their schoolwork, all before like 9.
Right? Like, I know.
Good
and then
for
they
you.
Start their day?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I'm
gonna
like,
be over here in my bed.
I'm gonna still be sleeping when you did all those things.
And that is okay.
And that is okay. I mean, I would love to get to that point. That would be so cool. That would be really cool. But yeah, I'm still very much I'm very hung up on the idea of rest right now, like and just taking care of what your body needs in that time. Especially for the days that I have off. Like sometimes I'm like, I'm gonna wake up at 9 and make myself a breakfast and do this and that and that. And then when it hits 9, you wake up, it's like, no, my body's fully telling me sleep for an extra 2 hours, which is like not the greatest thing to wake up at like noon, but sometimes I'm like, I need it. I so need it.
Yeah. Like meeting yourself where you're at.
Yeah.
That to me is healthy.
Yeah.
And, you know, 16-year-old me is like, I try to look back and kind of forgive her. And, like, you know, she was just so excited about dance. So excited about comp. And, like, hitting her face every time she kicked, you know? Like, that's awesome. And I've stopped, like, being jealous of her. And now I look at her and I say, that's wonderful. I'm different now, and my body has changed since then. But it doesn't mean that I'm less of a mover.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
Yeah. It's hard to do that every day, but that constant conversation of just checking in. Yeah.
Love that.
Do you pass that along to your students as well?
Yes. I feel like not to that extent, because I feel like we haven't yet to have ever had that conversation, which is either good or bad. I don't know. I don't know what happens behind closed doors.
Right.
But yeah, no, I always express like, do what you need to do in this time. Like I always do that, especially in drop-in classes too. I'm like, remember that this combo is literally going to go out the door in a couple of minutes, whether you choose to continue it or not. Like if you want to, you know, practice it later or whatever, but like just, it's okay. Like if the person next to you just happens to be like going above and beyond, but you've just physically and mentally feel like you can't get there, like work with what you have. I think like the huge thing that David brought up with, you know, Fresh and Ignite was you don't have to leave your baggage at the door. Like how every studio expresses that. They're like, you know, whatever you're going through, like leave it at the door and come in with a new, you know, mindset, throw that all away. And it's like, no, like come in with that stuff so then you can navigate it and work with it.
Totally.
And I think that's been a great practice for like post-secondary people. Amazing. But I noticed it's slightly of a more lacking in like the elementary, beginning of high school era. I feel like they don't get that message enough, that it's like you can bring your problems into the studio. Like no one's going to shy away from you or think that you're not trying or that you're not good enough because you don't have the utmost energy to do something today. Like that is, at least in my practice, at least in my like space, I'm like, that is okay. Absolutely. Bring in how you're feeling today. But yeah, I think in post-secondary, it's very much more apparent. For the younger folks, I think because they're on that scheduled, like we're doing comp, we're doing this, we must get this clean, run. It's so easy to fall into the trap of like, I know you're tired, but just do it. Like I've caught myself doing it a few times. Like
for sure.
there was literally a rehearsal last week. If she's listening, she's probably gonna laugh her head off, but she did her solo and she fell. Like she did a jump and her foot did not make it to the floor and she went smack right to the floor. And I thought she caught herself well. She kept dancing, so I was like, okay, great. And then she had her duet that I choreographed, and she goes and does it, but she was marking it, and I was like, not upset at her, but I was just like, okay, I get it, you're tired, but like, let's go, let's do it. And then once the music was finished, I felt like so mean. I was like, no, and I go back like halfway through, and I was like, because they messed up on some stuff, and I was like, okay, go to this part, you're gonna do it full out from here to the end. We did it, or the two of them did it, and then I glance over and she's bawling her eyes out, and I was like, what happened? Oh my God, what happened? What happened? And she said she hit her head when she fell. And I didn't know, like, she didn't tell me,
she didn't
like,
speak up.
I was just like, oh my God. Like, I felt so bad. I was like, I would have not made you
for sure
do it full out then if I just thought, you were marking because you're like, I'm feeling lazy. Like, she was like smirking at me, like, jokingly, so I was just like, you're fine, like, we're good. And then when I found out, like, she hurt her head when she fell, I was like, I wouldn't have made you whip your head in the duet, like,
no,
so many times. So, I've, like, since then, I was like, hey, now I need to make it very more apparent. If something goes wrong, just tell me. It's okay. I'm not going to bark at you and say, like...
It's that line of, like, trying to be stern and, like, being an educator means also pushing your students. Like, I know that for sure. I think as long as the communication is open that, like, the student can be pushed, then it happens. And I bring out a little bit more of a drill sergeant. I put that in quotes because, what even is dance? Because the training aspect of it and, like, in the rehearsal process, right? Like, you want to allow the kid to, like, be their best and, like, push for their best so that on stage it becomes, a performance. But I wonder too if that student felt the need to, really push herself, even to a point of, like, injury, and that, I think you're right. Like, I think we as educators maybe need to be so clear about, like pushing yourself doesn't mean forgetting about the health that you need, and I mean, I'd be curious just to know how that student is doing today. And, like,
she's great.
Well, like, that's awesome. Like, that there wasn't, like, a point of, like concussion or anything.
Right. I was like, oh, thank God. Like, it didn't get worse than what it was. I just saw her yesterday. And, like,
okay, good.
Perfectly fine. Yeah. Cracking jokes. Like,
good.
So all good. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's such a, like, real... I had that, too, when I was growing up. Like, oh, my God, like, I have to be silent. And I have to, like... really seem like I'm okay all the time. Yeah. But, like, doing a jeté and, like, not landing properly.
Like, I fully
hurts.
watched you smack your whole body plank to the floor. I watched it happen. I could tell that didn't feel nice.
Oh,
like,
no.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Cool.
It's okay, children, to speak up.
Yes, yeah.
And to the educators also, like, please make sure that you're leaving that space open for your students as well, because kids can be afraid to go up to a teacher and say, hi, like, I'm gonna be honest that, like, I'm not feeling well, or even if it's like an action of a teacher, like maybe the teacher said something and it bothered them, like, I think that's also a really hard thing to grasp. I actually just went through that with a process. There was a lot of miscommunication, and I feel like on my end I could have said something and been like, hi, like, what you said hurt, but it also could be reciprocated back to the teacher. Could also say, hey, like, that action that happened, let's talk about it, let's see where we can go from there type situation. I just think students and teachers just need a lot more communication, especially after this crazy year that we've had. Like, I think no educator, I shouldn't say no educator, but many educators, like, didn't realize the amount of stress that we all go through until the stress got wiped away. And, like, now that it comes back, it's like, whoa, that 9-to-5 job that I did or whatever, how did I do that with the mental state that I was in, plus school, plus this, plus family, plus all that, to kind of just, everybody's kind of now just gotten to sit and everyone understands each other now. It's like, we're all going through the same thing. It's very hard right now to be motivated to get up and do something. So bringing that to the table is okay.
I think your point to, like, prioritizing rest is something that I'm also trying to implement. Like, and rest doesn't always mean like lying on couches. You know, like it can also be taking a walk or reading a book, like things that are actually, you know,
or seeing friends and family you haven't seen in a while.
Yeah, that too. That's so important.
Yeah, like, or just go out and get a coffee.
Yeah,
like
something that's like away. It's like a nice little moment to step off of the grind and the training and the rehearsing and the process, just to be a human as well as an artist. Yeah. I think that's really important. I appreciate you speaking about all this. I think. I think a lot of people are going through it. Let's just switch gears just quickly because I do want to talk about other projects.
Other projects. I was like thinking about it. I was like, oh my god, we talked about like what, 2 things? Like on the list of like how many?
There's so many. I mean, one that sticks out for me. I can zoom through them. Yeah, I mean, you've got so many. The one that sticks out for me is the Young Creators Challenge that you were a part of. You submitted a piece called Bitter. And you won.
Oh god.
You won top dancer and top choreographer.
Like so.
What was that? Did you submit this solo for the specific challenge, or had you made this solo prior?
I made it specifically for young creators, but I shouldn't say specifically for young creators. I would say it was actually more for a friend.
Oh, okay.
That just that platform just happened to be there to support it, I guess you could say.
It's a great program.
my lovely friend, I won't name her because I don't want her to feel uncomfortable if I explain it, but she is not physically and mentally in the greatest capacity. Hasn't been for years because she unfortunately is sick. And she's like a little sister to me. I had a duet with her at my old studio for like 4 years, and she is just like the epitome of a ray of sunshine. Like, no matter how bad she's feeling, she will always be, you know, trying to make you laugh, or she's so sarcastic. Oh my god. she always pulls out sarcastic jokes, and I'm like, I can't tell if you mean it or not. Like, but she's literally like my little sister. And since Young Creators started, I've always wanted to submit something, but I had no purpose or no like ideas. Like, I didn't want to pull anything and not care about it. So she messaged me saying that she went like back to the hospital, and I was like, dear god, like for what now? And it was for a different reason that has been said for the past 4 years. Like the past 4 years has been like relatively the same thing, but this one was like different. So I was just like, okay, now I've always been concerned. I've had many nights of crying over her, but like that was just like that, not the icing on the cake, like not in a great way. I was just like
the initial point of view.
I was just like, oh my gosh, come on. Like, so once that happened, I was like, ding, idea.
Yes.
So I went to the studio, and like, although it's Young Creators and it's based off of choreography, I strictly was like, I'm gonna just make this from feeling. Like, I don't want to like, yes, I'm gonna focus on the choreo, but I also don't want to focus on the choreo. Like, I don't want to be hyper specific on like, you know, 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a count type of situation. I was like, I just kind of just want to move and embody her. And like, at first I was like, I'm going to embody her. But then as I kept dancing it, I realized like all the feelings that I felt of her was starting to come out. Ruby trying to be
our live studio audience is interrupting us.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry, that's my favorite.
We love when someone's trying to be quiet and it's just the complete opposite of that. Yeah, you're good.
Oh, Ruby.
Oh my god.
Please,
sometimes you have to
though.
Sometimes you have to just, you know, quick 5 seconds, make the most noise instead of a full minute of just pure chaos. Oh my gosh. What was I getting at?
So you finally made the decision to make this piece based on her experience. Or their experience.
I was trying to embody her, and then I was like realizing that a little bit of me, of how I felt hearing all of these things and like witnessing her go through it, was also bleeding through. So it was like a constant back and forth battle of like me being her, me being me feeling her, me being her, also watching herself change. Like, it was just a very like emotional experience. I think the version that I posted was like after the version of the one I was like sobbing. I did one, but I was just crying the whole time, and the dancing looked like a hot mess, but I was just like letting everything go. So then I did it again afterwards, and it wasn't like it just technically looked slightly more clearer than the one I did before. Gotcha. So I was like, okay, I'll post that one, but that one just mostly came from the heart. I literally said to myself, I don't care where I get placed in this. I just like, I want to do it and just see what happens, and just let this be kind of like you were my purpose for this, and I hope you enjoy. Wow. But what's so crazy about it though is like the deadline for when everything was posted, I didn't submit it till like the day before the deadline. Like literally, like I was like, I really want to do this, but I have no purpose. And then that happened, and I was like, whip it out in the night. Here we go. I literally whipped that out in like one night.
And like maybe that is one of the best ways to make art, you know? Right? Like just
when you don't plan too much.
Yeah.
And it just
happens. Personal place.
Yeah. So it was a shock, I must say, from winning in that experience. It was great.
It seemed to have touched people then, you know?
Yeah,
it seems like that story or those emotions bled through it, and you know, I appreciate you talking about the impetus of it, or the initial point, because I think, you know, as I was watching it, I wouldn't have gotten that, you know? Like, of course I felt the emotion of hurt and kind of a real downfall in someone's life, but I wouldn't have guessed that it was such a personal dedication.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's a big thing with my work too. Sometimes like I like when people have their own interpretation of whatever I create, which I think happens with anything you do. But you know how sometimes, you know, somebody will make something very specific that's like, it's about this, and I want it to bleed through, and I want it to be understanding that it's this. But some people, like, you'll still have people say, oh, I didn't get that at all. I was seeing this. That doesn't bother me. I'm like, that's sick. Like, you do that. Like, I don't know if you remember choreo of our last year, and the quartet I made with me, Kaylee, Maria, and Courtney. Yeah.
With the colors, right?
Yeah. I literally went into that, and I said to them, I don't have a theme for this. Like, I just like this music. I think we're all four powerful movers, and I just want us to, like, use the space and dance. And the comments I got was like, oh my God, Power Rangers. People were like, I'm getting superhero Marvel vibes. I'm like, I'm so down for that. I love that. I literally love that so much, because I love Marvel. We talked about this in the car.
Yes,
we
did. We love Marvel. We'll talk about it after, for sure. So it became sort of the audience's, I guess.
Yeah.
Instead of yours.
It was it was so exciting to see it from their point of view. And then we just ran with it. I was like, okay, like now that we're getting, you know, comments saying that it feels like a superhero type thing, which can sound very cheesy for, you know, 20-plus-year-olds to dance to, but in a rehearsal we had a great realization, like, we don't have to be like, you know, it's not like I'm Hulk and you're Spider-Man and you're what, like, we don't have to be a specific superhero, but what are the qualities of a superhero? And we kind of listed that, and we were like, okay, then let's embody that in the work. And
that had happened after you had heard the comment.
Yeah. That's so cool. that piece was very much just like, blah, here it is. Help me make structure out of it.
Yeah, we'll figure out what it means afterwards.
Yeah, we'll figure it out later. Yeah, and then it ended up being one of my fave pieces that I've put together.
I always got to watch it backstage because we were like the piece after.
Yes.
I think I forget which one, but yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Many pieces. We actually have to wrap up.
Oh no!
I know, I'm looking at the time. I'm like, I want to ask you some more questions, but I do want to give you a chance though to plug anything that we haven't mentioned, or anything else that you want to share with the world. Anything else?
I don't even know. I teach a lot. I do drop-ins. If you are inclined to want to work with me, just hit me up in the DMs.
I'll leave an
email.
Yeah. Where can people find you on social media?
Yeah, reneejsmith_. is my Instagram.
That will be linked below.
And I think my email is attached to it. I need to change it to my like dancer email, but you can still email me for whatever the heck is under there. But yeah, if I have to leave off on anything, I guess I would say just hone in on where you're at right now, and that everybody's path is so different and everything happens for a reason. Like, where you are at is okay. Mm-hmm. And if you are working, if you're not working, if you're stuck in a place of like unsure about, you know, jobs or like what your path is in life, like it will come. Probably not in the time frame that you would like, but it will come, and you just have to trust the process. And just be true to who you are, accept, you know, your well-being, and I think that's all.
Looking at Renee right now, I've just gotten like a therapy session. It was very nice. Very nice. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Very wise words. And thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. It's been so fun.
It's been really nice to see you, like, in person instead of just over Zoom. Yeah.
It's been really nice.
Keep in touch. Anytime you're downtown, let me know.
Yes.
If you make it.
Yes, for sure.
All the way over here.
For sure. Yeah.
Thank you.
I will be down here, I think, next week. It's my birthday, actually, next week.
Oh, yay! Happy
so
early.
I'll be celebrating that.
Good.
And just having a good time. That will be my rest, maybe.
Good.
We'll see.
Yes. Yay. Renee's gonna rest.
I'm gonna rest.
I'll miss all these projects. I'm glad you're busy, but yes, please take time.
Yes, I will. But yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
This is so exciting.
Thank you so much for listening to the Art Versations podcast. Please help the podcast community continue to grow by clicking subscribe or follow on your podcast platform and leave a review. As well, follow the podcast on Instagram at ArtVersationsPod. You'll find photos of the guest you just heard, plus highlights and quotes from each episode. Let's keep the Art Versation going. Send in a DM with your thoughts about art and any questions you might have for guests. Special thank you goes out to Jen Marquez and Maxim Bartnowski for their contributions. And thank you, listener. Till next time.